I'm Derek,
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite of.
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Werewolf by Night.
It's spooky.
I'm so excited to talk about this.
He's been holding in all of his thoughts for so long.
I mean, yeah.
But by the blood of the full moon, he is ready to transform
I wish I could. I really would.
into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Spooky,
I
spooky.
totally would. Who wouldn't?
Oh, I don't know. It's like the ravaging. Then people come looking for you. Then they want to kill you. It's a terrible cycle.
I'd be like a good one. Like, where I could control.
Let's think about this. So I guess, like, obviously in Werewolf by Night, he is a good werewolf,
Yeah.
right? Are there any other examples of good werewolves?
I don't know. Teen Wolf probably had some.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That's all I can think of.
Underworld had some. I mean, there's some good ones.
All right. Well, then I'm glad. So then you do have brethren that you can go to and be a part of.
What is it? Lycanthropathy? Lycanthropathy?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know. What were they called in the lychees and the vampires?
That's a vegetable.
It's a fruit.
Oh. Well, just to let you know what's coming up on the menu at A Bite Of, we're finishing up She-Hulk this week, so you can look out for that episode on Saturday. The finale is finally here. 9 episodes. How's it going to end?
9 weeks of our lives have come and gone, and we've enjoyed She-Hulk throughout all of them.
Yeah, and then we also have some ooky spooky things coming up. We're starting it with Werewolf by Night, but then going to get into other stuff. We're going back to our roots. We're covering The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike on Patreon, the book, and then we're going to be talking about the show.
Hashtag ABO Ookie Spooky.
That's
a good hashtag, right?
There's too many O's because it's ABO Ookie, so it's just...
Oh, so it should be ABO Ookie Spooky.
Yeah, there you go. And then last friendly reminders. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at A Bite Of Pod. Patreon, already mentioned it. If you like the show, want to support it, get bonus episodes that we're not doing on the regular show, go ahead and do that. And then review, subscribe, and give us some stars. All of that can be found down below in the show's description.
We thank you in advance.
Yes.
So I am here to issue the spoiler alert. If you haven't watched this 55-minute delight, you absolutely should.
Spoiler alert.
Ooh. Uh-oh. It's never going to stop now.
It was more like a wolf.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry about that.
Fine.
Misinterpreted the ookie spookiness of it all. But let us officially take a bite of Werewolf by Night.
Okay. So many thoughts about this thing. Where do we start? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Just general thoughts.
All right.
Go.
So I want this to be as clear as possible, okay? I wanted it to be longer.
No.
I didn't. No, listen. It doesn't need to be longer. It's not that it should have been longer. I just enjoyed it so much. Yeah. I wish that there was just a little couple more morsels to taste.
A good thing. That's a good thing. It was perfect how it started, how it ended, what we got.
Mm-hmm.
But if it leaves you wanting more,
yes,
they knocked it out of the park.
I was like, oh, give me more of this maze. Give me more of these action sequences, which were phenomenal, by the way. But now I'm like, I want to hang out with the werewolf and I want to hang out with Man-Thing.
Yeah.
A little more. See what little adventures they get up to.
Go get sushi with them. That'd be nice.
Absolutely. Let's split some edamame.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best thing that Marvel has put out in a long time because it's just it was so engrossing. It just glued to the thing. I didn't realize 55 minutes passed.
Yeah.
From start to finish, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and it was so different than anything they've done before, which I thought was really exciting. Just from the way it was created, the way the characters existed. So much with Marvel, it's so much about the origin story, right? How they came to be, what they're doing, where they're going, blah, blah, blah. This was literally like, these characters already existed, and we're joining them in this moment.
Yeah, if you've watched any of the classic horror, from what, like the 50s, Frankenstein, Dracula, Curse of Frankenstein, all of that, you'll enjoy this. But also, if you haven't, you'll still enjoy it because it's just such an experience. For them to do it in black and white, to do the film burn sometimes on the thing, to make it the vignette a little darker around the edges. Oh, that high contrast, like gray, black, and white. It was perfect. It was so good. And I think with them using practical effects the way they did, it just added to it. It just felt so new but old at the same time.
Yeah,
it was really
absolutely.
good. Michael Giacchino, first directorial debut, doing a full beginning to end. This dude has been in our lives for a very long time, being a composer. They need to direct more.
Yeah, what a jump, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, when you're a composer, you're setting the tone, you're setting the scene with the music.
You're directing the music.
You're directing music.
Yeah.
So he's grounded in what it is of creating what's going to be seen, but you're just, in one sense, hearing it, but he's gone to the visual.
Yeah.
And he does it so well.
And also composed. I mean, I'll get into like one of my favorite scenes a little later, but it has to do with music. it was such a, I know from interviews and stuff that that Michael was talking to people about, he wanted to do Werewolf by Night. That was the thing that he loved. Werewolf by Night. He loved the comics. Funny enough, Moon Knight appeared in Werewolf by Night.
Right.
And then shortly after Moon Knight got its show, Werewolf by Night got its special.
You have to wonder the thought process behind some of these things, right? Because in reading Werewolf by Night, it was such a product of its time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure there's like jive turkey stuff happening. And it's just like, wow, this is so based in the 70s when it was created. But he took this idea, this character, crafted it in a black and white horror film. Oh my gosh. I don't know how he got from Werewolf by Night to this version of Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you took a classic monster.
Yeah.
Werewolf. I mean, look at all the movies and TV shows and books and everything that we've gotten from them. And then they're like, you know what? Let's just take it back to the classics and I'll give you that Dracula, Frankenstein.
Right.
All that stuff, that feeling from it.
Right.
But also place it in one of the biggest cinematic experiences in history.
Yeah, it was Marvelian
in
the sense of the fight scenes and the magic and the sort of lore that was weaved throughout it.
Yeah, it's so good. The Gael Garcia Bernal as Jack Russell, which I still can't get over the name. To this day, I still can't. His name is Jack Russell and he turns into a werewolf.
He's
it's a dog.
Little terrier.
Yeah, knocked it out of the park. I want Werewolf by Night. I want Jack to be more in the MCU just so I could just see how this character can function outside of this thing.
Yeah.
But to kind of touch on another first, this is Marvel's first special presentation. So it's the first one that it's not a movie, it's not a show, it's just a holiday special.
Yeah. Why is it always so exciting when they do a special treatment to the Marvel logo? It's always so exciting for some reason.
Because we've seen it for over 10 years of this logo, and then like they make subtle changes.
It's
some characters.
Black and white. It looks like it's an old film. It's getting exciting. It's like the Marvel logo is what actually sets the tone for the feature that you're going to watch.
100%. How do you feel about the presentation so far? The special presentation going forward? Because I know we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy one for the holidays. But so with it not being a movie, not being a show, and it kind of being a soft, how do I put it? Like a soft marketing. Like, do you like this thing? Do you want more?
Yeah, if the point of it is to lead into something longer, I don't know if I'm so interested in that. Well, maybe with this property, but not necessarily with all of them. But I liked it a lot. I mean, I think that we have a lot of conversations throughout our episodes whenever we're touching on the Disney Plus series. We always sort of play with the idea of, does this need to be as long as it is? Is a little drawn out? Why are they hour-long episodes? Why are there 8 of them? So to have something so compact, it actually felt more effective.
Oh, 100%. They were able to the pacing phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think it was a product of it being 55 minutes. It's this one story. It can set up for later things, but this is what we're doing, and it's not going to be like an origin or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a story. It's almost like a one shot in the comics where they kind of, a character will be introduced in like Justice League or Avengers to see if people like him, and then like if they did well, they'll do a one shot to see if like maybe we'll do an ongoing series.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a self-contained story. It felt like you couldn't tell what time period it was in. There was no cell phone, so it could be current.
Yeah.
But it also could have been 50 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how you would place it, because even looking at the costuming, right? So we have Elsa Bloodstone, who feels modern, right? She's wearing like a leather jacket and pants, and she's, very stoic. But then you're looking at this like cast of monster hunters who are just so from their own realms.
One that looks like David Bowie,
Yes, Azrael. And then like there's Bariso, who sort of has this Blade vibe going. There's Jovan, who, I don't know, giant Viking guy.
Yeah, they gave no explanation, which was a lot of fun. The entire plot of the movie of them bringing these monster hunters together to hunt a monster to then show that the monster hunters are actually the real monsters, and then do this kind of like Western game, Hunger Games, like labyrinth. It was so cool.
I have to fully admit that I obviously knew of the character, but I had no idea what to expect of this. And so I was like, wait a minute. Because the whole thing is that they're coming together to find a monster in the maze to get the Bloodstone. Right. And so I'm like, okay, so they're all going to be chasing the werewolf in the maze. He's the monster that's loose. And then I'm like, wait a minute, but I thought Gael Garcia Bernal was playing the werewolf. So I was so confused going into it. I didn't realize that he was sort of, like a double agent in the group. So as someone coming into it with like not really putting those pieces together like a fool, I was delightfully surprised by the twist.
Oh my God. I was so surprised. Having Man-Thing being introduced into a property is so cool. Again, it's these characters that you just don't ever expect. But then when you get them in this way, it's like, oh yeah, of course. Like why weren't they in something before?
Like, so Man-Thing and Werewolf, Jack Russell, they're not necessarily in the comics crossing paths.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah, they're monsters. They're the things that lurk in the night. There's this team called the Midnight Suns, and they're not like the Suicide Squad. They're not like the Thunderbolts. They deal with what goes bump in the night. They're the monster hunters. They're the supernatural. They're one of the coolest teams, which I wish got more love even in the comics. It seems like they're slowly building towards that in the MCU because Blade's coming out.
We're doing our Thunderbolts over now with this other group.
Yeah, which it needs. I feel like the MCU does need that. Like we've gotten the hero stuff over and over and over again. Thunderbolts is going to be refreshing, but we've kind of seen they're not like the Suicide Squad, but in a sense, they're like the Suicide Squad. And the Midnight Suns can bring that refreshing take on a team, show us a side of the MCU that is there, but we don't really ever see.
Yeah.
And it's going to be exciting. I hope that's the route that they're trying to go.
I feel like we got a really good taste of sort of like darker magic with Agatha in WandaVision.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that in here again, which I like. I like that tone for these movies because it feels like horror, but it's not like horror, murder horror, things like that.
This was the MCU's first like straight out gory horror. I'm not sure if it was TVMA. They might have been able to skirt that rating just because the blood was just looked like black.
It was black and white,
goop. So they might have been able to skirt that. But we previously only got a tiny taste. They just tipped the big toe into the gross waters of horror with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which some of those scenes were horror. I mean, Sam Raimi did it. So we got some horror scenes, but it wasn't like this. This was it was a love letter to horror. This was, hey, we're going to probably be doing some of this stuff. How do you like it?
Yeah. And I guess looking back at it, there were some, I remember flinching at a couple of things. I mean, especially with the fights when Leorn gets the arrow through the bottom of his jaw.
I'm glad you remembered those names because I don't. They died really quickly.
Well, I think it was Jovan. He gets his like knee broken in the wrong direction or something like that.
Elsa kicks him.
Yeah, there were some pretty brutal things that happened in this where I was like, woo.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jump scares though was when Man-Thing hugs Jack Russell through the bush.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Because you're like, the monster got him, and then it's like, oh no, wait, they're besties.
Yeah. It was a gotcha jump scare.
It sure was.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm looking forward to more of these types of special presentation type stuff because if I'm going to be honest,
please be honest.
Moon Knight probably could have done with one of them.
Yeah.
I don't think it really needed a show. I liked the show. But as it kept going on, it almost teetered out a bit.
Yeah.
Because it was so strong and then it was kind of the same going forward. It was fine. I really like the show. You guys probably listened to us talk about it. We can find things that we like. But if I'm looking back, I could say Moon Knight is probably the only one that I can think of that probably could have deserved it.
Yeah, like I would even think something like that can exist in like a limited series 3-part format. Mini-series sort of thing.
Oh, let's not give them another. No more.
But you know what? Because then they'll take the 3-part series, but they'll make them each 2.5 hours long. Yeah. They'll pull the Stranger Things on us.
Oh my God. Which, I mean, I guess depending on who it is, it's fine.
I mean, isn't it interesting, though, like just like pulling back a bit, how basically Marvel can do whatever they want?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we'll do 9 episodes at a half an hour.
You know this is how much they can do whatever they want. When Michael was talking to Kevin, and I'm using
your best
names,
friends?
My best friends.
On the text chain?
So Kevin Feige, when he was talking about it, and this also is the sign of a good producer. So he was talking about it, whatever, and Kevin Feige was like, hey, what if, like, what about adding Man-Thing into this? Like, fans would like that, right? Yes, fans would like that, and fans did love it. And it's just so cool that he can just be like, yeah, let's put this thing in there.
So, like, I need to ask, why do you love Man-Thing so much?
Because I love my gross
swamp
plant, swampy, big, huggable characters.
Good to know.
Swamp Thing and Man-Thing, I love them both. The interesting thing about them, if you know Swamp Thing, you know Man-Thing just by proxy. It's the same thing, except one is in...
It's the same thing.
Yeah. One is in Louisiana and one is in Florida. That's the only difference, really.
The things.
Yeah. But also some of the creators crossed over to both companies. So they actually traded stories. Like one of them, this story might have been for this one, or this one might have been for this one. They're completely different now, mostly. But they're just the thing. I just like them a lot. I like that thinking that this human that turned into this thing could also exist in any type of plant anywhere, or control that, or communicate with it. It's just really cool. I just like the visual. It's also cool that they put it in the supernatural. I don't know. It's just such a cool mix of all the things I like.
How do you feel about sloths, who also are a slow-moving creature with moss growing on them?
Well, they're cute. We're fine. They're a little slow for me. At least Man-Thing can kind of trot.
Well, it's interesting. So his depiction in this Man-Thing is sort of like a I don't know. He just feels like a chill dude.
He almost feels like a more chill Groot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like that's
just
kind of
like
how I feel.
Always having a good time, not really worried about too much. Like I got into another one of these situations.
Jack Russell's gonna come help me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think the depiction was fine. I mean, that's kind of how he acts in the comics anyway, and he's a man of very few words.
He's a thing of very few words as well.
Yeah. I liked the depiction. I really think that Jack Russell, Elsa Bloodstone, and Ted stole the show. It was really our 3 main characters, but they really drove the entire thing.
Yeah. Now, how did you feel about our Bloodstone? Like the lore of it being the only thing of color for most of it.
That was cool. I liked that they added that bit, because if you think about it, if they didn't do that, it would just look brighter than whatever else they're showing. So it was a really cool added because we have that technology now that they can add that type of coolness to it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, the Bloodstone is exactly what it says it is. I mean, it's the Monster Hunter has it and it can repel monsters. I mean, that's really it. I mean, it gives them longevity and all that. It's cool. I like Elsa a lot. I think she's an interesting character.
Yeah.
I think that a monster hunter that grew up like trying to hate monsters, but she's a good monster hunter.
Right.
Which is nice. It's nice to see.
We like people who are nice to monsters.
Yeah. Laura Donnelly did fantastic.
Yeah, she was really wonderful. I think we do need to talk about the elephant in the room or the body in the box, Ulysses Bloodstone.
I don't want to.
That was it was like just the right amount of bizarre for this.
It was so campy that it was so good.
In my head, I'm like, okay, well, I guess he's like an automaton, so he must have gears in him because he went perfectly with the script of what he was saying, and the fingers, I couldn't get over the fingers.
Yeah, I just like when he like crossed his arms again. It was like, yeah, that rigor mortis is really setting in there.
That was righteous.
It was good. I think that her stepmom is awful, and she got what she deserved. She knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah,
it was so good. I love this step into the supernatural without giving any explanation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you turn this on, you're just going to sit through this entire experience.
Yes. So this actor Harriet Sansom Harris, who plays the mother,
that's a mouthful,
Verussa. She's like one of these actors who's always been in stuff.
Yeah.
And she usually plays like the most awful character, but she does it so well. Have you ever seen Addams Family's Values? She plays the mother of the horrible blonde girl at the camp.
She does. That's why she's familiar.
Oh, and that's just such a chef's kiss role. I mean, Addams Family Values is just so flippin' good. And she just, I don't know, she just takes these roles of these people and she devours them in the best way. And it's like you see her and you're like, oh, what is she from? What is she from? Well, that's one of the things you probably know her from. And she did such an amazing job.
Yeah. I know that the guy that narrated the beginning part, Vincent, I can't remember his name. Vincent, it's at the tip of my tongue. He's a horror icon for his voice and for what he does. I can't remember. But it's a cool touch. Like if you really look at the cast and kind of who they picked and why, there's a point. There's a reason why they did that. So it's not only visually an homage, but they're bringing these people in that were in horror movies, that were in stuff that people would recognize. It's so good. I mean, you guys know we love horror. We love the spooky stuff. It just hit the right spot.
Yeah,
totally.
And it really did feel like an ode to horror.
Yeah.
It felt like it was honoring
horror and not in a bad way either.
No, not at all. It was campy, it was fun, it was spooky, it had some moments that were kind of like yeesh. It really did a nice job of balancing all of those things.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited to see where possibly this character could go next. If, again, it could fit outside that. So they used a lot of practical effects, except for Man-Thing.
Right.
I think Man-Thing had a practical stand-in.
But the face.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was all CGI, really. Man-Thing. I was going to say Swamp Thing. Man-Thing. But Jack Russell, it was prosthetics, it was practical effects and everything. I think it looked great. I think he looked better than the werewolf movies that we've seen in the past, like older ones. And I think the black and white really helped with that. They could get away with some of the stuff that you might see in the light.
Yeah. And, I do feel like you didn't actually, and sort of connected to what you're saying, you didn't get that good of a look at him.
Right.
Because once he transformed, though, that second act or that third act was so chaotic that you couldn't really even grasp a lot of the time what was happening in a very good way.
Yeah, he's just an agile wolf man that's ripping out throats.
Oh, man.
So fast.
I mean, it's so funny because I don't really love blood and gore, but I was so tickled by the blood hitting our screen that we were watching.
The third act, I think the third act is so beautifully done and done in such an interesting way. There's a lot of wire work and everything like that, which is fantastic. I think he's agile. He's flipping all over the place. He has to. But the transformation scene, the way they shot it, beautiful. I can't stop thinking about that scene. And then the scene in that close quarters where he's destroying all those guards and everything with the blood hitting. It was so good. It was like, that was kind of what it was all building to this thing being unleashed.
I have to say, just going back to our conversation about like when this takes place.
Yeah.
So a lot of it felt centered in years ago, decades ago.
50s.
But those guards felt very modern.
Well, they said at the end, when everything goes back to color, which, so good. Give me WandaVision vibes a little bit, but it was just so cool. He tells Ted, like, let's go get sushi.
Yeah.
Like, that's typically like a contemporary thing, a modern thing.
Yeah.
So I do want to say it's probably set in now time, or give or take 10 years or so.
Yeah, maybe that's why Elsa has such a roll your eyes feeling at the entire thing, because she's like, people, it's 2022. Why are we dressed like this? Why are we in a basement?
Right.
What's happening right now?
Yeah, she did, though, give me that very, like a callback to the heroines with the red, not with the red, but with the leather jacket and then the belt and the boots. Like, she gave me that vibe. Like, I think they were definitely paying homage to it, but it's like, it was modern.
You know who she reminded me of now that you're saying that?
Who?
Do you remember Gargoyles?
Oh,
do you remember the cop Elisa?
Yeah.
She reminded me very much of that. And Gargoyles sort of had that feel of like being set in the now, but dealing with things from the past.
Right. Oh, man, I love Gargoyles.
Gargoyles was so good.
It was so good.
We were watching... It's so funny when you think of like Gargoyles and the Batman animated series. We were watching some very serious cartoons as kids.
I've rewatched some of the animated Batman series as an adult, and I'm like, this is so sad.
Yeah.
This is awful.
You should know that when a children's cartoon, when the theme song has no words, it's really for an older audience. When it's just instrumental.
And very intense.
Yes, very intense.
Lightning is usually the call to do that. So in this talk with monsters, and I kind of touched it on the beginning, you know mine. If you were to be a classic monster, what would it be? I would 100% be a werewolf. I don't care.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I think I would be a vampire. I'd want to be a vampire. I think I would like sort of the idea of flying and being able to, like, I don't know, be suave and charming. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're thinking like Bram Stoker's Dracula, like that kind of like ethereal, almost like godlike vampire, or are you thinking more Interview with the Vampire? You thinking What We Do in the Shadows vampire?
Well,
they're fun.
But... I mean, I think in reality, I'd probably be more like a What We Do in the Shadows bumbling fool. That makes more sense. In my fantasy, I would think more of like maybe like Interview with a Vampire.
Which we have to watch.
The Vampire Lestat.
Yeah, the new show's got some pretty good talks about it.
Really?
Yeah.
All I remember from the movie is just
Brad Pitt.
No, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, I was like, Stewart. No.
Just being so small and so angry.
Oh my God, though.
With those ringlets.
Scary.
Yeah.
She's scary towards the end. Oh, that movie is so good.
She cuts her hair and she's screaming. Not your golden locks, girl. My God.
I remember watching that movie and being like, this movie is, one, really long. It's really good, but like, it's so like steamy in like an uncomfortable way sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never liked the part with the rat.
Oh, they got to eat.
Oh, I just felt bad for the rat.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
In New York or wherever they were, there's plenty.
Oh, I love the rats in the subway. But,
no, what?
Okay. So what is it about a werewolf for you that you lean towards?
I didn't know we'd go into all this.
You just asked me.
No, I know. I was hoping you'd ask. No, I kind of like the gruffness of it. I like that you get the same thing as the other ones, but it seems more grounded almost. It's
literally.
Right. It's a little more mysterious. You can be a human at some point. You have that pack mentality. I don't know. It just seems interesting to me. I wonder what kind of fur I'd have.
You know what's hilarious to me is that I think if anybody was looking at us, they would cast you as the vampire and cast me as the werewolf.
Probably.
Interesting.
But once they hear us talk, then they're like, yeah, I gotta switch that.
I'm like, give me your blood.
Yeah. I don't know. So comment below. Which one would you be? I'm curious if anybody would be like a Frankenstein.
Or a mummy? Or like a
mummy is one, yeah.
Black Lagoon creature.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know that was on the tape. Well,
classic monsters.
Yeah. No, still a werewolf.
Fair.
I mean, I like them, but
let's see. Think of your cereals. Count Chocula, Boo Berry.
There was no swampy one.
There's a couple of new ones. I've seen them.
No.
They've created some new ones this year.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know what we're doing. Our next Patreon exclusive is us trying the different monster cereals.
Okay, and talking about monster stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You heard it here now. This is how we plan our things. but back to Werewolf by Night.
So wait, I want to know, you had mentioned you're like, I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes. What was it?
Yeah, so I mentioned one, the transformation scene.
Mm-hmm.
If a director or if a movie or show or whatever can tell so much in just a particular scene, like visually, and the way that Laura, right? Yeah. Laura Donnelly was acting during that part. He told her, just don't take your eyes off of me, stare at me the whole time.
Yeah.
So seeing how she was trying to do that while also being terrified at the same time, the strobe light showing the transformation in the background, like I got goose skin watching it. I'm getting goose skin now thinking about it. It just really, that did it for me. I loved the entire thing, but I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever watched in my life. That might be like really high praise, but I'm just so excited about it.
Hey, it's so spooky season and you're feeling it.
Oh my God.
You are allowed to feel those out.
So good.
One of the things I enjoyed most was...
Oh yeah, what was your thing that you liked? I should ask you.
The flaming tuba.
That was my second one, but I didn't want to say it because I feel like you would say it, so I had to let...
It was so ridiculous. And it was like taking crazy guitar guy from Mad Max Fury Road and like putting him in Werewolf by Night. It's just such a flaming tuba.
But the imagery.
Oh my God, beautiful.
The music, the sound that kept happening whenever the flames would go higher, the like ceremonial walk to the maze. It was, guys, it was so good. This shows you that like everything doesn't have to be the same. These superhero movies, these things that come from the comics don't have to be the same. It was so cool.
Yeah.
That flaming tuba. Oh my God. What's his name? I need to know.
Oh, David Silverman. He's really in the cast. What? Literally David Silverman as the flaming tuba.
Wait, that name sounds familiar. Who is that?
I don't know. It's David Silverman.
Click on it.
All right. Let's see. He is a producer on The Simpsons. He directed the Simpsons movie.
Okay.
He's just done more like directing and consulting, producing and stuff like that.
Huh.
Interesting. But he's done things with The Simpsons. He's done things with Disney, RoboCop.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe just the name sounds familiar.
I mean, quite possibly.
Totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the cast was phenomenal. Flaming tuba man and all. I really loved the costuming throughout this entire thing. I loved as Gael Garcia Bernal, he's from Mexico, so his face was painted like Dios de los Muertos.
Playing homage to his heritage.
Yeah, because that's what he says.
Yep.
You know, and
so cool.
I love when, you know, so many of these characters in the MCU are really based in whiteness.
Oh, that's when they were made.
And so when they are diversifying the cast, they are really letting them live in that heritage. And I absolutely love that.
And it adds more to it. Not to go on this like representation matters, but we're always going to say that because representation does matter. It gives more to the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was played by a white guy, he'd just show up.
Right.
He wouldn't have anything. I mean, if he did have something on his face, it'd be like, okay, you're in Halloween makeup. Yeah. But it was that extra layer just added more to the character and you wanted to know more about him. It seemed more fleshed out. It seemed more like a real person as opposed to, okay, it's just another guy that they're getting. That's also why I'm excited for Namor and Wakanda Forever, because they've changed not only the character and where they're from, but they literally changed the character.
Yes.
They're not from Atlantis. They're from a completely different part in that region of the world where that person comes from.
And let's talk about how the people are thirsting.
Oh my God.
They are thirsting for your boy Namor.
That underwater city is not going to be the only wet thing in that theater. I mean, so many people. I posted on my personal Twitter. They came out with those moving Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, yeah.
I posted it. The amount of thirst that brought everybody together. Straight dudes, LGBTQ people, straight women. There were so many people commenting on that and sharing it. I'm like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is why representation matters.
I mean, let's be real. The dude is gorgeous. Yeah. It's so exciting that we're getting this like new and improved Namor.
He has that look. It's like, yep, you're Namor.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do, but go do it.
What a beautiful interpretation of the character that they've created.
But it's exciting. It's exciting that they're reinventing these characters. They're making more current. They're making them reflect the world we live in. Fantastic. Elsa Bloodstone, I want to see more of her. I'm interested to see where
does it go from here?
Right. So she has the Bloodstone. She is ruler of Bloodstone Temple, and that's it.
The only person that is there now is the butler.
Yeah.
So that's her team going
Which was
forward.
nice. She didn't kill him.
That was very nice. I mean, he didn't do anything. He's just doing his paycheck.
Yeah.
He's not taking sides.
He's just cranking that old man.
He's like, I had one job tonight. Please don't kill me.
Please don't make me do that again.
No.
Like, he only has one setting.
I had to stuff him. I had to put him in the box.
Imagine. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
Be nice to him, Elsa. Please.
Please.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where her character goes. If they do a Midnight Suns type thing, I'm not sure how that would look. She can definitely be in it. She should be in it. Werewolf by Night should be in it. Jack Russell, Blade. We have Black Knight, Kit Harington's character from the Internals. Ghost Rider could be in it typically. Moon Knight usually isn't in it, but he definitely could fit into it.
I mean, Knight is in his name. So.
Yeah. He's like, I'm my name.
Midnight, Moon Knight.
I belong in this. The midnight takes place when the moon is out in the night.
Do you see? Werewolves like midnight.
I could see him trying to be like, let me in to this club.
They're like, get out of here.
But I'm excited for that. If that's the route they're going, MCU needs it. I want it. We need it.
Yeah, I always think about when folks get cast in these MCU properties and they're like, is this it for me? Is this the one thing I get to do? Does it become more? You know, that it must be exciting and at the same time being like, please, please, please let it be something else.
Yeah, I know Keanu Reeves has been like supposedly talking to Marvel, wants to be in it. You know the one character that he said he wants to play?
Who?
Ghost Rider. And it's like, I could see it. I'd like it. But I feel like it would be too similar to Nicolas
Cage's, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if anybody likes those movies. Because Nicolas Cage is in it, I do not like it.
Noah has a very strong opinion about not enjoying Nicolas Cage.
No, I have no opinions about him. I just don't like to think about it. I don't care.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I mean, the only movie that I like Nick Cage in is Moonstruck. So take that for what it's worth.
Never saw it.
Oh gosh, I know, but it's so good. It's Cher.
Well,
she won the Academy Award for it. It's
Whoa.
Olympia Dukakis.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Can you do a Cher?
I don't think so. Moonstruck. Oh. Oh, I won the Oscar. Oh. No.
She won an Oscar?
Yeah.
Whoa.
For Moonstruck.
Does she have an EGOT?
I don't know, actually. She must have a Grammy. I don't know about Emmys or Tonys.
If Cher was to be in the MCU, what would it be? Who would she play?
She would play Medusa. I always just picture her with her hair. Like
that's true.
The Cher hair has always been part of the image.
I would say Sindel, but technically Warner Bros. Has that one, so unfortunately. But yeah, Medusa in some type of sense, I could see Medusa. Yeah,
that's what I think.
100%. But Moon Knight, I was going to say Moon Knight. Werewolf by Night. I'm very excited to see what the Guardians of the Galaxy holds and how true that's going to be to this special presentation type thing. Like, are they going to be introducing new characters, a new concept, or is it just going to be kind of like the Groot shorts that we saw where it's just like, yeah, we expect what's happening?
I mean, maybe it has to do with the response to it. You know, like anything, maybe they are just planned as a thing that happens. And if people really enjoy it, they might expand that particular part of the universe and maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, again, a whole bunch of stuff just got pushed to 2024 today.
Oh my God.
So
Blade.
If they were ever going to do something with this, it won't be until like 2028.
Fantastic Four got pushed. Blade makes sense. The director is no longer there. So they paused pre-production to actually find a director, which makes sense.
Fair. You need that.
The Avengers Secret Wars, it made no sense to have 2 Avenger movies in 1 year. There was no way that was going to happen. So it was inevitable that it was going to get pushed.
But the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. I'm not going to talk about it.
Maybe it just means they're making it better in some way. They're not rushing it.
I'm waiting for my email from Kevin Feige so I could play something in it. I'd play anything.
You and Kev. Besties.
Yeah. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Hi. My number is 917-748.
Yeah, you're taking a chance there. You got to just do the basic television 555. 555.
I wanted to give them a little something.
You're going to be getting calls.
The last 4.
Mm.
Anyway.
People have ways.
Anyway. But yeah, so final thoughts on Werewolf by Night. Go watch it. Yeah. If you got this far and you didn't watch it, just go watch it.
Werewolf by Night. What a delight. In the moonlight.
I give it 5 out of 5 full moons.
Yeah, I gave it 10 out of 10 Awoos.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you did more ratings than I did, but it's
We're
fine.
just using 2 different scales.
Aroos are less, but more when you do the quantity.
Exactly.
I see.
They're both 100%.
Yeah. So let us know what you thought of this special Marvel presentation.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oh, God.
Thanks for listening to A Bite of. Artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite of. Bye!